Welcome, Joy Fuelers, to the Joyfuel Kindcast. I'm Becky, and I'm really grateful to be winding this year 2020 down with you with this special guest today. This is a guest of a lifetime, someone that I have dreamt about since I was a wee girl, probably before I could talk. I'm really grateful to be introducing you to someone who really needs no introduction, who has many names. Did a little research on all of the names that this guest goes by. Grandfather Santa, Santa Claus, Saint Nicholas, Father Christmas, Papa Noel, Père Noel, and Sean Corn from from Wales. Of course, today we have our beloved Santa Claus with us in our Joyfuel Zoom studios, and we will let Santa Claus begin his video and unmute himself. Oh, there he is.
Oh. Hello there, Becky. Hello.
What a joy to be with you, Father Christmas.
Yes, it's kind of crazy. I get way too much credit. You got everybody calls me by different names because I'm everywhere. I am the joy, right? I am the magic that you've personified to try to make sense of it, but it's right there everywhere in the cosmos and in you.
Oh, well, it truly is a joy to talk with you, Santa Claus. Father Christmas is what I grew up knowing you as, and I wanted to share with you a beautiful gift that my mother made for me this Christmas. It's you! This beautiful hand knitted that I get to cuddle. So I will sit here cuddling my Santa Claus as we are about to have this historic conversation. And I imagine you've been very busy, but you look very rested at this point.
Well, thank you. One of the beautiful little doll knitted resemblance of joy incarnate there. It's beautiful that so many people utilize this image to remind them, right? And that's really where it's at is and the whole purpose of a Santa character, if you will, this imagining of what joy would look like. Of course, it shows up in so many different ways, but I love the way that we have created that instant ability to see what one way that joy can look, and because joy is everywhere and all throughout the cosmos and all throughout all of who you are. You ask about me being tired or feeling rested. In the cosmic Santa world, you know time we play tricks with time, and time plays tricks with us, and so I get to be everywhere on that special night. But wink wink, I'm everywhere, you're everywhere, joy is everywhere all the time. And so I don't experience Christmas Eve as a tiring event, but I understand in the human body that would seem pretty tiring to get up and down all those chimneys and navigate all those rooftops.
That's so true. Oh, well, and I was looking up all of the different names that humanity has come up for you. One that I'd never heard was Chimney John. What's another one? And I just, I think it's so enchanting when you think about the history of you and different things that I've learned over the years about Santa Claus and coming from St. Nicholas, and then in England from my mother country, Victorian era, Santa Claus was the image of merriment for adults, and then soon became the personification of Christmas that engaged with children and created merriment and joy for children and represented gift giving in a different way. And so I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your feelings about gifts, Santa, and and what have we got right? And perhaps are there any pointers you'd give us about gifts, things that you might like us to remember that you think perhaps we've forgotten over these years?
Oh, thank you. Great setup here. The Had quite a personality identity complex over the years, with everyone calling me different names and saying I do this and I do that. But again, it's a whole different world coming from this place, right? This cosmic knowing, right? That humans have this forgetting that happens, and in the forgetting, then in an attempt to remember, you place meaning, you give names and characteristics to the magic in an attempt to remember it and hold on to it. And so that's really that's really the trick here, is that, and like you've seen as you study human history, that over all of human history has been this desire to personify and make understandable the magic, right? And many of your religions and many of your great teachers all fall into this category of, this is so amazing yet so baffling. How is it possible that the magic exists, and how can I hold it, and how can I remember it? And that's been the greatest joy for me, is to be all these different characters, to show up in this moment like this in a way that will help you and others remember the magic that you are. And and so that again will always be the underlying thing, is that this whole energy of Santa, if you will, Saint Nick, Father Christmas, this remembering of when the darkness is here and then turns back toward the light, right? This remembering, this time of remembering also includes this time of forgetting or darkness. And that's obviously the solar situation, where the sun does its dance here at the solstice time, and why humans did everything they could to try to understand what's happening. You put yourself in the mind of early humans. Oh, if you could hear the thoughts they thought. Oh, it's what's happening. The sun is going and going and going. But wait, it stopped. Oh no, did it break? What's happening here? And then starts moving back the other direction in the sky. And so this renewal of remembering the magic, the what is this that's running the cosmos? What is this magic that allows my body to do millions of things without me even thinking about it? Right? That human have always been in this incredible dance with the magic, and with not really understanding it, but hoping to understand it, and then remembering for a moment and forgetting again, and again and again and again. So that's the underlying thing we always have to think back to then answer any of the other questions. And you presented a good question around gifts, right? That magic feels like I'm getting something from some magical place that I don't understand, right? I'm getting life. I'm getting the joy that I feel when I see young children or animals or nature. And where is this magic? What is this magic? How do I get it? Do I deserve it? Um, and so this all starts circling into the human experience. And so you mentioned gifts and presents, and and so I, on one hand, it seems like humanity has gone a little off kilter and gone way too far into this. I'm going to give you a box with something in it to make sure you remember that I love you or that I recognize you, and I have to take some credit and some blame there, that that was an idea I had. Hey, let's give everybody presents, right? And then folks wanted to feel similar to Santa, if you will. So everybody, let's give everyone presents and more and more. And the more presents is more love or more magic. And that's perhaps the place where humanity has made it a little harder on themselves in this remembering and forgetting game, that more isn't necessarily more,
Mhm.
right? Obviously, the less is more uh, phrase plays big into life, and realizing that presence is also a paradox. Presence as in gifts, but presence as in your awareness and your intention, and in your ability to be with someone and really present. And that's really the other paradoxical trick, if you will, of the magic and the joy, is that what folks are wanting is that feeling of connection, right? And part of the forgetting game is that we signed up to forget that we're all connected, And so we've been living this human experience trying to remember, and Santa is one way of remembering, and I'm happy to play my part in humanity doing its best to remind itself of the magic that they already are, always
Mm.
were, and always will be.
I love that. I love that our presence is the greatest present we can give.
Yes,
That
that's
is such a gift
yes.
to think and feel about, for us to remember that.
Yeah, when you're
That
with
it's,
someone
yeah.
and they feel you with them, right? I mean, this is what we call love or physical love or attraction, or that when we feel that, we're exchanging the magic, right? With that feeling of just going, oh, just love seeing you. It's so nice to be with you. Is that my magic is seeing your magic, right? Ties into your namaste, right? The magic in me sees the magic in you. And we're both fascinated and baffled at the same time, but also feeling in such a deep human way that connection.
Mm. Well, I think I have to call you Unity Santa. You'll be the Unity Santa. Us, reminding me of us,
Yeah.
Unity Santa, and the importance of our presence as gift and the magic that's inside of us. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about unity and peace, since I think you have quite a specialty in that. Just looking at you, I think you do.
Well, again, going back, right? The magic. What is this magic that makes it all work? What is the magic? I chose to meet you today out in outer space where you could have that visual also. Um, that we are the cosmos, right? That we are one thing happening, this great cosmic swirling that then led to the creation of the elements and creation of the cosmos. And then here come galaxies swirling into place because of that presence with each other and that allurement, that feeling of wanting to be in connection. And that's what formed the basis of the gravitational pulls and the galactic desire to swirl, if you will, right? And then here this galaxy shows up, and this solar system, and this sun, and then this one rock here that we call Earth here in the background. That, if the Earth doesn't fall in love with the sun, none of this happens in the way that we're seeing it. And so, at a deep level, we have to remember that we're this 14 billion year cosmic unfolding,
Mm.
right? That's what all of it is, all of Earth life, but not just all of Earth life, because we can't be too Earth centric either, even though that's very tempting. Is that we are all of the cosmos and all of the mysteries and all of the magic. And as we remember that, then it gets narrowed down and narrowed down into our solar system and our Earth sun, and then our Earth and our humanity emerging out of this Earth amidst all the other nature and life, and then humanity continues to burst forth. And here we are, the fingertips of the cosmos, right? It's experiencing themselves as Becky and Susie and Tom and Billy, and and the universe is just checking itself out through us, through the experience that we have in our life. And so unity and that peace and that presence and that joy is all this swirling magic that we're still trying to understand in human form. And we get it and then we forget it, and back and forth we play the game. But that's what we are here to do, is to play the game and remember. And of course, in the remembering, there's going to be some forgetting. And that's the game again. And this is where peace comes up. Can we be at peace with the fact that we're going to remember and then we're going to forget?
Mm.
Right? That remembering of the bigger story that we are, that's unfolding. And so when we can touch base with that bigger story of peace, that bigger story of joy, then we can feel that presence of the magic in us, as us, through us, right? And then it all starts clicking into place when you can connect to that cosmic consciousness. So many people do it through nature, arts, or kids, or meditation, or yogas, or whatever you do, whatever it is that helps you remember that that's the gift of the holidays. That's the gift of the dark turning to light. is the remembering that you are this cosmic story. And that's the depth of peace, the depth of your connection, the depth of your remembering that, of course, this is one thing happening, but the one thing wants to happen in zillions of different ways. So we made it as paradoxically crazy as we could for the fun of it.
Oh, well, I don't know if you've ever had the joy of meeting Peter Melton, but he taught me something earlier this year, and I'd like to teach it to you, Santa.
Well, very good.
So there's this thing called the unity sign, and it used to be that we would do the peace sign, but what we'd forgotten. Actually, you might remember this. You've met Peter Melton, I think.
Oh,
He's one
yes.
of you.
Oh,
He's a good boy,
crafty
and
lad, that one. Yes, yes.
we remember by bringing our peace sign to ourselves. We remember that we're connected, and that we are in unity with each other. There's the unity sign. Perhaps
Yeah.
you can say it a little better than I did.
Well, yes, that's each of us remembers in our own way, and the crafty lad Peter wanted it in a hand signal and worked on that for a long time to try to figure out how do we say what's happening, right? This little couple of minutes I've just been blurbing around how we are one in the cosmos. We are one as a solar system. We are one as a planet. We are one as humanity. We are one as life. We're all one, until we get to the very end of the fingertip where Becky thinks she's different than Tom, right? And so in that forgetting is the two, and as the two remembers, as Becky forgetting becomes Becky remembering here in her heart in that deep presence, then she comes from a different place as she acts on the planet peacefully. And that's the hand signal, the unity sign, the remembering sign, really, because it all goes back to remembering. That's really the word and the energy that is yearning to present itself more often in the human condition, and why programs like yours fueling our joy. Well, how do you fuel your joy? As you remember,
Mm,
right?
mm.
What is it that you can remember that reminds you of the joy that you already are?
Mm. That's so true. Oh, that's so beautiful. Because I think about with our program here, I always think about times when I had forgotten my own joy, which is really was the motivation behind the Joyfuel Kindcast, was creating a platform to be able to share people's stories of unifying again with their own joy and becoming a guardian for their joy. But I remember back to when I didn't honor my joy or guard my joy, and I felt without joy. And I think of people who may be watching the Joy Fuel Kindcast seeking to animate their joy. And I think this one really fits the magic here today, having Santa Claus himself with us. But for people who are starting on that journey back to rediscovering their joy, how can we how can people start finding their joy again? To me, it's about just following the things that you're curious about, and you're trying to not be so overwhelmed with all the problems that are in the world right now, not to ignore them, but to try to make space each day in your life for opportunities for joy to come through, whether it's learning about a bird that you hear singing outside your window, and creating that different relationship with an animal that's around you in your garden or something, or it just following whiffs of curiosity can help to bring you back into a stronger relationship with your own personal joy. And I wonder if there's anything you'd like to add to that, Santa.
Well, yes, yes, that's so spot on. That's so it there, Becky, is that, and that's the ho ho ho. That's the curiosity, right? That's the whole reason that there's ho 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 is oh my. It's kind of oh is also in there is what am I curious about? What drives me? What tickles me inside? Right? That makes me remember in some way. And in that remembering again to hold space for ourselves, to be gentle on ourselves, because it is this paradoxical back and forth dance that we've created and we signed up for, and now we're playing. And so for a person who's in the forgetting, shall we say, and looking for that reconnection, is like, What tickles you? What do you remember that has tickled you in the past that might be able to tickle you again, and you could go back and see a movie or read a book or talk to a friend or just dare to have a remembering of a
Mm,
time that's tickled you. And oh yeah, I used to love playing with cats or whatever it might be, to start to, because the magic is everywhere. Okay, we hit it in the most amazing place possible. We hit it everywhere, right? And so the fish is looking for water, and the human is looking for magic and joy, and somehow forgetting that that the body is being breathed 20,000 times a day, right? And the heart is being beaten over 100,000 times a day by some magical force that we just kind of take for granted. That
mm,
isn't part of who I am or
mm,
what I'm up to. It's something separate, and I'm this little being who is struggling to make it in a zany, paradoxical world. And we hold that mindset for as long as we do, and then we remember and forget. And and so the process, the remembering and the gentleness with ourselves and with each other. And sometimes it needs to start with each other, because it's so much easier to say, "Oh, Becky, but you're so wonderful and you do all these wonderful things in the world, and you take care of these children and these animals and your neighbors," and to gift it to someone else
mm,
as a way of knowing it for yourself, right? And that's
mm,
often a great trick too. If you're stuck, is give it away. You're not sure that
mm,
there's love and magic and connection. Well, give some love, magic, and connection away to someone else, and
mm,
you have proven to yourself that it exists. It's inside you. It's accessible, and it can move.
mm.
And so then we can practice moving it within ourselves, or say, "That felt good. I called my old friend I hadn't talked to in a while, and she was very happy that I touched base with her. And wow, who else could I call?" And of course, dozens of people could come up. And then it becomes fun. You just like, "Well, who could I surprise? Who would think, wow, I never thought I'd hear from you again?" And dial that number, right? It's so easy with the technology. So we tickle our own fancies, we remember, we create ways for ourselves to remember and to share that remembering with others. And there it all ties in, right? Those are gifts. That's the gift of presence
Mm.
that you're sharing with others. And why it feels so good to give is because, of course, you are receiving as you're giving. And all these tricks of the trade, if you will, all these mantras start tying themselves together in a tapestry, and the remembering clicks in, and there you are,
Mm.
until you forget again.
Oh, that's so true. And I love that you talked about like calling somebody on the phone because right now, we're being, in our homes, away from each other to keep each other safe. And there are a lot of people who are on their own but we have phones that we can use. And I think we've got so caught up in etiquette on how do we use these phones. We have each other's numbers and we're not calling each other anymore. Yesterday, I called a friend I hadn't spoken with in about 8 months, just out of the blue. I didn't text her to say, is it okay for me to call you? I just called her. I'm in North Carolina. She's in New York. And she answered the phone. And we had such a wonderful catch up. And just that out of the blue, she was so happy to hear from me. And I was just so happy she answered the phone and that we were able to reconnect. And we forget that you can do that. We can just pick up the phone and call somebody and reach out. And can create a lot of joy and connection again, especially for we haven't been able to see each other, some of us in
Yes,
person, we can still reach out through the phone.
yes, that's
So
it. And you hit
it's,
on another point. This, in these interesting times where things are different for everybody, and the places that folks used to go to get that good feeling or to remember that magic, many of those are gone.
mm,
Whether it's visiting friends or going to activities or even going out to a restaurant or a play or something, many of these things are no longer accessible for folks, and so their source for that joy is hiding even
mm,
more right now. And I know that it brings on a lot for people, that we can assist, not only them but assist ourselves in doing that by just reaching out to say, "Hey, was just feeling you," and wanted to say, "Hey," even if it is a text or a quick little note on one of the social medias. But the phone calls, of course, are turbo, because you can cut right through some of that extra walls that we put up with our social media and whatnot. But just daring to move the energy, because joy is an energy that moves from inside out.
Mm,
We're so caught up also in thinking that it's out there and I've got to bring it in and hold it, right? And we've got tricked on that one too. That when we play with and remember that
mm,
joy is this energy that comes out of you, and that's how you experience, oh my goodness, right? Oh my goodness. And that the external joy trying to bring in and hold is effort and work, and we're always afraid we're going to lose it, and joy is out there somewhere. Oh, ho,
mm,
ho, ho.
mm,
You see the tricks we put into this game, the forgetting that the magic is everywhere, and now we think it's somewhere outside of us, and I got to go grab one of these stars and bring it in and hold on to it, or I'm going to be less somehow, right? But
mm,
again, oh, I love how it all weaves together, Becky, because
mm,
it really does when we can sink into it, that we set it up this way, that the universe was set up in a way that anything and everything could happen, and anything and everything could be experienced. And now we're playing it out for the universe. We are the universe, cleverly disguised as Becky, experiencing itself in the Becky way. The only way the universe can know itself in the Becky way is right there through you holding Santa with your peace prevail on earth pole in the background and your peace flags and your loving expression of who you are. The universe is like, yeah, cool. This is a pretty cool universe through the little Becky peephole. Right? And that's you creating that joy, that laughter. The universe laughs with you. The universe joys with you as you are being you. And
mm,
that's the dance that we're in. And so if we can hold on to that deep truth, then when we do forget, we have that foundation. You land on the foundation of, oh yeah, this is all the magic.
mm,
That you don't fall through to the bottom of other things where we completely forget. But
mm,
we land on the soft landing of the magic, the joy in everything, as everything.
mm. Oh, it's so beautiful. Well, Santa Claus, it has been such a joy to talk with you and ask you questions. I can remember when I was a wee little girl hiding behind our couch in the middle of the night, and I swore I saw you go to our tree. And I tried to convince my parents the next day that I did, and they just smiled. I'm grateful for the myth of you, for the story of you, for the way Santa Claus can help us reimagine what remind ourselves of the magic that's inside of us, and that we are the gift that we give to each other, that we are connected. And I'm just so grateful to rediscover those beautiful truths through this time with you. And I wonder if there's anything that you'd like to share in closing.
Well, the way you just said it, little Santa's helper, Becky, you're remembering, you're in that joy zone, and you're feeling it, and you share it with others, and it's a beautiful example, and it's just it's beyond words to tap into the magic that you are, that we are, and remind each other to be that magic, to tap into your inner Santa. If Santa is the thing that helps you remember, or the stars or the animals or the arts or whatever it is, to know that that's you, that you are the universe expressing as that creativity right now, and be the Santa, be the magic you want to see in the world,
Mm.
right? And share it and gift it and be it. And that's what you're up to. That's your Christmas presents that you can share around the world instantly in one night. It's not all that hard to give your gifts of presents to the whole world in one night. Ho, 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 ho,
And
ho.
how about we did it every single day of the year? We
Ding, ding,
we we
ding.
get to do that. Well, it has been such a joy, and I've been giving you a hug this whole time through the
Feeling your
Zoom
hug.
stream, and just so grateful. Thank you for joining the Joyfuel Kindcast, and I wish you a beautiful 2021. And we'll remember. I'll keep you around on my couch behind me to remind me all year of this beautiful message of hope and this beautiful reminder that you've given me and all of our viewers about the gift of each of us that we have to give. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you so much, Father Christmas, Santa Claus. Merry everything.
Merry everything and happy now, and just keep on being you.